Guys, how's it going? It is the Geeky Gangster here, coming at you guys today with another video. And into this video, I wanted to give advice to incoming freshmen because, it was very debatable whether or not to make this video because, you could say that I'm not the best person to take advice from because I quite frankly had one of the worst possible high school experiences with failing. I dropped out like 2 years in to do online to finish it. When I was in my sophomore year, my school was starting to get shot up 3 different times. I had like police at my school and everything else. So I had a very exciting high school experience, I guess you could say. But so with that, I guess I am in a very specific boat or realm to be able to give advice, being that I failed almost all of my classes my first 2 years. For example, just going through my freshman year, my first semester I failed Spanish to the point where I got kicked out and I had to do yearbook. I failed algebra. I failed science when I think I got a D- in science my first semester. Got a D- in English. So, I finished my freshman year with a 0.6 GPA. So, which nothing was good, nothing was great about it. And so I wanted to give advice, I guess, on what not to do, and also the things I did right, or the things I wish I would have done more, so you guys might not make the same mistakes that I did, or maybe you guys get inspired in other ways by this video. So, the main point I want to get across to people of what to do is just say yes. That's my main message, dude, because you can't deny opportunities, because when you're 14 to 18, you're in this very specific, time frame of your life to where the opportunities are going to open up, and you don't really have that many consequences, so nothing's really going to impact you financially, nothing's going to really harm you that far down the road unless you do something absolutely insane, but nothing's going to impact you that much. So you have to say yes to these different opportunities. So like going on field trips to your school to different states or different countries, just say yes, because that's a once in a lifetime opportunity that's not going to be very consequential, and you just have to say yes and put yourself out there to everything. That's the main point of my video, but I wanted to go into further specifics as well. So yeah, you just have to really put yourself out there, say yes to any opportunity that arises. I'm not saying like drugs or like hard drugs or like stupid opportunities like getting yourself in trouble, but for instance, let's see. So do everything that don't try to fit in. Do everything that you want to do. Do everything that you see an opportunity to do. So, for instance, starting a YouTube channel, starting TikTok. Put yourself out there in every single instance, because that's how you're going to grow as a person. Because in all honesty, 14 to 18 is when you're going to see your biggest growth of your life, from your freshman to senior year, physically, mentally, spiritually. You're going to grow so much in these years that it's absolutely insane. And here's another thing too, is I felt very severely depressed from basically 7th grade all the way up until recently, because I was so focused on what everyone else wants, and I never really thought about like what was going to be the best for my future and for me at the time. So like I constantly was reminded by my teachers that I was a failure, that I was a reject, and by my peers as well, because when I did like these things, right, I was failing school, so I constantly had to stay after. I was constantly, it was constantly put in my head, you are a failure, you're a reject. And so when you listen to that sort of society, you're going to call yourself a failure, and being a failure is one of the worst things you could be. But, now that I think about it, it wasn't that I was a failure. it was that I was failing in their regards, but I never created my own regards. I never created my own feelings. I never created what was a failure in my aspect. And so I could only ever be accepted or be a failure in somebody else's aspect. And that was all there ever was. And so now looking back on it, yeah, I didn't have the best grades in freshman or sophomore year, and then I had to drop out and do online, which doubled my GPA. I graduated with like a 2.7, which after my sophomore year, I was at like a 1.3, I think. So I more than doubled my GPA. And 2.7 still isn't great, and I wouldn't recommend graduating with a 2.7. But now it took me so long to have my own regards and to truly, what's truly going to bring you happiness and success in life is when you're able to sit down and say, fuck everybody else. Fuck your parents. Fuck your teachers. Fuck your school counselor. Fuck your principal. And I'm being dead serious when I say that, right? Because you have to figure out what you want to do. What's your regards? What's your standards? Are you a failure to your own self? And when you figure that out, you're going to get totally different results than when you're thinking about other people. Because now that I'm graduated, now I actually have a path figured out. Now I actually know what I want to do. But for the longest time, I didn't know that. And so if I didn't know that, of course I was going to be a failure because I didn't even know what a failure was in my own regards, so the only option was to be a failure. But now I have these things figured out, and I no longer am a failure in my own regards. So for instance, I have this plan to, move out and then become a New Zealand citizen down the road. So I'm traveling the world, and when you say traveling the world, people automatically assume you're rich because, these material things, it's what you chase, right? Because everybody tells you, you just become a doctor and then you buy a Tesla 10 years down the road and then you're finally going to be happy. And then you get that Tesla and then you come to this realization, it's like, oh, I'm not actually happy anymore. Then now that I have these things, I'm not actually happy. But, so you have to figure out what's happiness in your regards, what's failure, and what's perfect in your regards. So experience new things and live in the now every single chance you get. I was basically in this marketing team with the state of Michigan because my school is enrolled in it, and it granted me a lot of opportunities. For instance, I got to go to the United Center and talk to advertising experts of the Chicago Bulls. Now, there was a time period where I didn't know if I wanted to do that because of the cost, but now I don't miss that money and I heavily remember that experience, right? So it was saying yes that led to an amazing experience. And there's so many different instances of that, right? Going to the courthouse was a big one. So like going to the courthouse and watching law taking place and was a very interesting experience. And before that, I was told that it was going to be boring, that I should skip. But I didn't, and now I remember that instance. So it's just saying yes to every single opportunity possible because that's what's going to grant you your memories. It's just when you say yes. When you say no, when you're afraid to do stuff, that's when you're going to have this horrible experience. That's when you're going to feel like you're a failure because you're afraid to do these things, right? But when you go out of your way, when everybody else tells you that you can't do something, when everybody else tells you that you shouldn't do something, and then when you just stand up, when you stand up and actually do it, not for your mom, not for your dad, not for your teachers, not for your school counselor, not for your church priest, but when you finally stand up and do something for you, that's your first time in life when you're not going to be a failure anymore. That's the first time in your life when you're truly going to feel happy. Right? So when you stand up and just say yes, and I know it sounds a lot like the Nike slogan, just do it. And there's a lot of truth to that. Just do it, you know? Just do whatever it is you want to do. Start the YouTube channel. Do cosplays. You know, go to conventions. You know, find people who you are going to get along with and put yourself in these communities that you can respect and that you're going to find the most fulfilling. More recently, I found myself asking that question. And before I never asked that question, and that's why I had such a horrible time, because I never knew what that was for me. But now I know, and so now I can actually stand up, right? And for me, that was exploring. It's just exploring the new and unknown world around me, going to different places and stuff. And for other people, that might be different things. So you just have to stand up and just say yes to these different opportunities. So my second piece of advice is, I know, you know, you're probably 8th grade principal already told you this, but the kids that are cool now will be absolutely nobodies the day you graduate. And don't get me wrong, they'll be cool for those 4 years, right? But they'll be absolutely nobodies the second they put a cap and gown on. The second they put a cap and gown on. They'll be absolute rejects in society. All of these cool people that have the highest brand clothes, that have never experienced rejection in their entire lives, that have everything, they won't know what to do in the world. They don't know what it is they're standing up for. Yes, they are accepted. Yes, they are getting the A's because they listen to what everybody else wants of them, and they do whatever anybody else wants of them, but they don't know what they want for themselves. They don't know what they want to stand up for. They don't know what they want in life. So their entire life is just stranded off of who their parents are and making other people happy. And so please, don't listen to these cool kids that fit in, right? Because those people, they don't have anything for themselves. But they want to drag you into the position where they are. And so that's not going to help you in any sort of situation down the road. So my third tip for incoming freshmen is to just be aware that things are going to change. And if you don't believe me, so you're probably 14 if you're an incoming freshman, right? Think about the time when you were 10. You know how much has changed since then? So you're going to see so much growth and exponential growth between now and when you're a senior. So you're going to, you know, have rough patches. When you're going through all this change, it's going to create really difficult feelings, and it's going to be hard to understand at times. But just know that it's completely natural to go through these changes, and you're going to lose friends. It's completely natural because when you're going through exponential change, your friends are also going through exponential change, and it's very, very rare for you and a friend to go through, you know, to be right here, to be like interact now, and you guys are both changing and growing. It's very uncommon and almost impossible that you guys are just going to grow in this straight path together and stay connected. So you're going to lose friends. I've lost all of my friends that I had in my freshman year, and I have new friends now that are helping me grow and that I like to be around now. And so I think that's completely normal. Change is completely normal. Just expect to change. Don't let it get to you too much that you're changing. Don't really try to think about it. Just let natural courses take place. And so that is another piece of advice that I have. And so I guess my final piece of advice is just to grind everything out as much as possible. And when I say that, literally just do everything you can possibly do, because these 4 years are extremely short period of your lifetime, and it's going to fly by. I promise you. I know when I was a freshman, I did not think it was going to fly by, and there was certainly times where it went by very slowly, but in retrospect, it went by very quickly. And so these 4 years are the shortest 4 years of your life, and everybody will tell you that, and it's completely true. I didn't believe it when I was a freshman, but these 4 years are the shortest 4 years of your life. And so just grind everything out. First and foremost, do all of your homework, because your homework is going to be essential to understanding what you're learning about, and it's going to be essential to growing your IQ, growing your GPA, growing what you know educationally. And so do all of your homework, do the best you possibly can do to grow your GPA, to have, a decent GPA at least above a 3.0. So yeah, do that. But then also, just going back to the just say yes stuff, go to all the football games, go to all of your school dances, go to literally every possible school event, because that's what's going to create all these memories down the road. That's going to lead to so many more opportunities that you didn't even see. I mean, don't do like retarded stuff, all right? Don't do like heroin. Don't have like unprotected sex. Don't do any of that stuff, but other than that, say yes to everything. Do everything you possibly can. Do all of your homework. Go to all of the games. Go to different games, dude. Go to the volleyball games. Just support your peers throughout all of it. Go on every single field trip, and I do mean that. Every single field trip that you have the possibility to go on every single field trip. And that's the biggest piece of advice I could give you, right? So anytime your class goes somewhere, go. Every time that is possible. Don't worry about getting behind. You can get caught up. You will always get caught up. Go on every possible trip. So, everything that your class does, go with your class, right? Go to all of your school events. Go to every single game that you possibly can. Go to every single dance that you possibly can, because that's going to create the memories, right? But also grind for yourself. Do social media. Go to conventions. Figure out what yourself wants to do and just do it. So grind out these 4 years, because the more you grind in these next 4 years is going to set you on a much better path for the rest of your life. And that's 100% true, and I didn't believe it in my freshman year. I had a really hard time believing it for the first really few years of my high school experience for whatever reason. But now I'm telling you guys this. What you do now is going to set you up for the rest of your life. If you do nothing for these next 4 years, then the chances are when you exit high school, you're going to be on this nothing path. And yes, you can get off of this nothing path, but it's going to be a lot harder than when you're grinding and you're kind of like, you can start down here and start grinding now and end like right here, and then you're right here when you graduate, on the graph, right? And when you do everything you possibly can, everything's going to be granted to you. And so just grind these 4 years, enjoy these 4 years, and just do everything you possibly can. And hopefully your school never gets shot up. Hopefully there's never a pandemic that closes your school. Hopefully you don't drop out and start doing online. Right? Hopefully you don't graduate amongst the worst economic collapse in 100 years. And that's all I can leave you guys with. So just do everything is my biggest piece of advice. And that's such a good advice, dude, because I didn't believe it in my freshman year, and now I'm telling you guys this. So, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And comment down below if you got anything from it. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.